Did you know that if you don't have a hobby, you're more likely to lead a shorter life? It may be a little bit of an exaggeration to say that you'll die sooner if you don't have a hobby. However, hobbies can be very enriching and they could potentially prolong your life and make it overall just happier and better. And it's very surprising to me that more people don't have hobbies. We all know of the stereotypes of like old people. You ever have that very grumpy, like evil grandpa that you experience, or grandma, and they just don't seem to have anything going on since they retired, and you're just wondering like, man, what, I don't want to turn out like them. Or maybe you experience the happy grandma or grandpa that makes things and still does things, and you're just happy that they're so active and they're still doing stuff. And this might not be so much of a stereotype. This might just be an effect of how doing other things than maybe working or schooling can help enhance your life overall for the better. So, hobbies can have major benefits, including being a good outlet for you to enjoy outside of work. They could be being a there are three main things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how hobbies can be an enjoyable outlet outside of work, and I'm going to talk about how hobbies can prevent things such as dementia and depression, and then they can make those things better. So yeah, hobbies are very enjoyable. I can attest to that. I have hobbies in art, and I do crocheting, and people will spend money on my work, which isn't necessarily the goal. However, money makes everyone a little happier, and it's never a bad thing to be making some extra money on the side. My art teacher would randomly allow my work into art competitions where I could choose to sell my work, so that was some passive income without even putting any effort in, and that was good. And it's a good time. You can meet a lot of new people. You can make a lot of lifelong connections because people who have these hobbies like to connect with other people who do. And hobbies can be anything. It could be photography, it could be coin collecting, it could be woodworking or car stuff. It could be absolutely anything. And a lot of people are very happy about it. However, hobbies can generate much more additional stress than needed. And a journal from Life Enchantments in 2022 goes into this a lot, saying how people are likely to get over-invested in their hobbies and they'll spend too much money into them. And their example was that they had the example of coin collecting, and they said coin collecting isn't inherently harmful to collectors or the people around them. However, once a coin collector starts prioritizing their hobby over their financial and emotional resources, it can reduce success in other areas of their life, and that can cause depression, and it could even lead to like losing motivation in things and losing your job because you're just not. And that can get way out of hand, but everything is best in moderation. And the article recommends that if you are dealing with these issues, that you should speak with a counselor because this is an obsessive behavior and it could likely be worked through with a professional. So my recommendation is to pick a different hobby if you get a little too fixated like this. Pick one that doesn't cost money or won't take up as much of your time. Make sure you do it in moderation, like photography or anything like that. Everything in moderation. If you find yourself that you haven't been overwhelmed by a hobby, but you might be dealing with depression, or maybe you just are really bored in your downtime, hobbies can help with feeling better in your day-to-day life. And a longitudinal cohort study has lots of stats on how hobbies and depression can be related. So having a hobby is associated with a decrease in depression by at least 30% in their study, with lower odds of experiencing depression in the first place. But people who are already dealing with depression yet don't have a hobby are apparently with 272% of higher odds of recovering from that depression, which is very impressive. It's some inverse data that I didn't really understand, but they went into it a lot in their article, and I recommend checking it out. Also, the Journal of Epidemiology found that having hobbies decreased not only risks in mortality in later life, of course, but it apparently largely declined ability for ADL and IADL, which is activities of daily living according to the article. So basically what they're saying is that people who don't have hobbies are more likely to lose functions that they could have done while they're older, like day-to-day tasks that are necessary for living on your own, like doing your laundry and cleaning up after yourself. As you get older, you might lose these skills, but people who have hobbies are associated with not dying as soon and also retaining these skills for much, much longer. You might not have depression or really any desire to add another task to your day, because that's just a lot of extra work that not everybody needs. However, if you gain a hobby, apparently you might be less likely to develop dementia later in life. So you can have a healthier life, and it's an insane benefit to prevent dementia. However, picking up a hobby is absolutely no cure, but the Journal of American Society on Aging in 2011 proves that such engagement in hobbies, as well as other familiar tasks, can help restore order in a human brain, and notably, the engagement in hobbies is inversely related with acquiring dementia, and hobby engagement in mid and late life is associated with a much lower risk of dementia in general. Data found, which is data found between 2006 and 2016. And with continued engagements in hobbies, we can better understand these older people and their connections and help them through retaining abilities later into their lives. And you can consider this for yourself, because you don't want to end up losing all of that in general. So throughout this speech, I've talked about how different hobbies exist as an outlet for you, and they could be very enjoyable, even profitable. They can be an antidepressant, they can prolong your life, and they can even prevent dementia and cause better function late life. And hobbies are an amazing outlet for passionate people to connect with others. Whether you have no hobbies, I encourage you to find a new hobby for your downtime, or you should recommend one to a friend. It can strengthen community connections and lead to better lives. Thank you.